so we don't forget. Always important to do. For our attendees, we're just getting set up, so give us a second. I'm going to go live on Facebook. Okay, so we're going to share it on SciStarter. Go live.
Woohoo.
All right, our live stream is preparing. We are about to be live on Facebook, which will be great. So more people can see this event and learn about the future of health research. And, you know, most importantly, celebrate women in science with all of us California today. All right, our event is being live streamed. I'm going to go ahead and put the link in the chat so people can share the link if they want with their friends and family of the live stream event, or you can also find the recording after the fact. And we have our panel on the line. You also see some people who are off camera. Those are just friends of ours from the All of Us California group. They may pipe up during the event if they have a question. We just wanted to give them that audio and video access just in case. Okay, we have 23 people with us so far. Hey, everybody, thanks for being here. We're gonna get started in about 1 minute. Dr. Anton Culver, do you have a question?
Which screen do you want us to maintain here? The screen where I have all the pictures, or the screen that has something moving in it?
You can keep all the pictures up if you'd like, because the people who are viewing it just see you spotlighted when you talk. So we have it set up so our attendees are able to see the different spotlights.
Yeah. No, this is fine. This is fine.
Perfect. All right, we're right at time. This is great. So hello, everyone. Hello to our friends who are watching us live on Facebook. Hello to our friends who are watching on Zoom. And of course, hello to folks who are watching this recording. We are so delighted that you're here. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. We have a quick intro prepared before we get to our awesome panel for today. So first and foremost, I'm Caroline Nickerson. I'm from SciStarter. I'm so delighted to be your host for today's event. I want to give a huge thank you to the network of the National Library of Medicine, as well as the All of Us research program for making this event possible, as well as for the work they do every day to move health research forward and make a difference. And thank you, of course, to you for being here. To kick things off and to give some people some time to join us on Zoom, I'm going to go ahead and launch a poll just so we can learn a little bit more about who's with us in the Zoom today. And if you're watching live on Facebook, feel free to just put your answers in the Facebook comments. And if you're watching the recording, you can do the same thing. We always love to learn from you, hear from you, and make sure that we know who we're serving and who we're learning with. So our first question is, have you ever participated in a citizen science project before? The answer could be yes, the answer could be no. If you're not sure, you can tell us that you're unsure. And there are no wrong answers here. And if you haven't participated in one, that's okay. We're going to tell you pretty much everything you need to know to learn how to participate. And for those who are just joining us, we are kicking things off for today's event with a few poll questions just as icebreakers so we can let people trickle in before we start our panel. So our first question is, have you ever participated in a citizen science project before? Our next question is, have you heard of the All of Us research program before? This is pretty straightforward. Yes, no, unsure, just let us know. And if you haven't heard about the All of Us research program before, that is a-okay. We're going to tell you what you need to know in this event to get involved and just engage with the All of Us research program and learn more about it. All right, and our last poll question is, we just want to know a little bit more about you. So who are you? Are you a citizen scientist? Are you a parent of a citizen scientist? Are you a teacher, an educator, a troop leader, etc.? Are you a librarian or part of a library staff? Are you a researcher or a practitioner? Are you just a bored person on the internet? Or are you none of these? And it's okay if you're none of these. I hope all of you by the end of this can become citizen scientists. That would be great. But if you're just a bored person on the internet, there's no judgment here. We hope that we entertain you today, intrigue you, maybe you learn something, and you become an unbored person on the internet. All right, I'm going to give people a few more seconds to answer our icebreaker poll questions. I know we still have people trickling in, so for those who are just joining us, we're kicking things off with a few icebreakers before we get to our panel discussion today. For those watching on Facebook and who may have just joined us on Facebook, please feel free to put your answers to these questions in the comments. We asked, have you ever participated in a citizen science project before? Have you ever heard of the All of Us research program before? And we just want to know, who are you? And you can tell us a little bit more about who you are. All right, I'm going to close the poll in about 3, 2, 1, and I'm going to end the poll. So I'll share those results with people who are on Zoom. I'll read these out for people who are watching the recording. The first question was, have you ever participated in a citizen science project before? 26% of attendees said yes, 50% of attendees said no, and 24% of attendees are unsure. That is A-okay. I'm going to tell you what citizen science is in just a minute. So for those of you who said no or were unsure, you'll learn what you need to know to engage. And if you already have done citizen science, that's really awesome. Tell us which projects in the chat. And then our next question was, have you ever heard of the All of Us research program before? 86% of attendees have, which is great. It shows that we either have some people who may have come to past events with SciStarter and All of Us, or maybe people who have participated in All of Us before. Really awesome. For those of you who have heard of the All of Us research program before, if you don't mind, in the chat, please tell us how you have. That would be awesome. And then our last question was, who are you? Are you a citizen scientist, a parent of a citizen scientist, a teacher, etc.? We have 19% of you who are citizen scientists, 2% are parents of citizen scientists, 14% of you are teachers, educators, troop leaders, 2% of you are librarians or part of a library staff, 17% of you are researchers or practitioners, 10% of you are bored people on the internet, and 48% of you, the vast majority, are none of these things. So that was very educational. And I'm looking at the chat just because I'm curious. Someone said, I'm part of the All of Us research program. Is that considered a citizen science project? Yeah, definitely. It's part of the umbrella of moving science forward and contributing to research. And for my definition, which I'll review for you in a second, that is definitely citizen science. And Leah says, SciStarter connected me to All of Us. And Stephanie here in the chat, she's given me the perfect segue to what the definition of a citizen scientist is. Someone says, they're a recording of this. Yes, if you go to SciStarter's Facebook page, we are actually live streaming this event right now, and you'll be able to view that recording later. So these are our partners today with All of Us California. We're going to get to more about All of Us in a second. That's actually going to be our first question for our panel, but we wanted to go ahead and put the link in the chat just so everyone has it for joinallofus.org/California. So for those of you who weren't part of All of Us, who've heard of All of Us but haven't participated or engaged with it, you have that link right there in the chat. And our partner for today is All of Us California. They helped us convene the panel of awesome women in science that you're going to learn from today. And these are all the institutions. These are institutions that are part of All of Us California and who participate. So really great and a huge thank you to our partner today, All of Us California. And that is their logo, All of Us California. I can't give them enough shout outs. So I'm going to give a quick intro to citizen science, then we're going to introduce the panel. So first and foremost, what is citizen science, right? Well, millions of people enjoy science and nature. And you are probably in that group, even if you don't realize that. If you like going outside and looking at birds and butterflies, or you've ever pondered your brain and wish you understood how the brain works better, you're in good company. There are millions of people just like you who are really interested in the world around them and want to understand how it works. And the great news is thousands of scientists need volunteers. One thing we say at SciStarter is scientists don't have enough eyes, ears, and perspectives to know everything there is to know, to understand everything that needs to be understood, to answer every question that needs to be answered. That's where you come in. You can help these researchers. You can collaborate with them to understand the world better. You can participate in ongoing research projects called citizen science projects, either by collecting or analyzing data, data is just information, or contributing in some way. Data can be using your smartphone to take a picture of a plant outside and contribute to a research-based understanding of where that plant occurs or how it might be changing over time as a result of environmental changes. You can help by participating in an online gamified citizen science project. There are actual citizen science games you can play, where by playing it, for example, with the Stall Catchers project, you're making annotations for Alzheimer's researchers. Or with the Eterna project, you're building RNA-based vaccine designs. There are so many different ways you can move science forward as a volunteer without any special training. But sometimes these researchers who need your help can't find curious and concerned, motivated people like yourselves. So these people can't find each other. That's where SciStarter comes in. We connect them. So we connect you to the real science you can do, and we connect researchers to the volunteer communities that they need to answer important scientific questions. And SciStarter.org, that's where it all happens. That's the connector, that's the bridge. If you make a SciStarter account, you can go ahead and start exploring the database of projects that researchers have added, and you can find an opportunity that allows you to turn your curiosity about the world into real scientific impact. So what is citizen science? My definition, and the one that SciStarter's come up with, this is the definition that resonates the most with me, is that it's a collaboration between researchers and those of us who are curious, concerned, and motivated to make a difference. So it's how people make an impact on the issues they care about and help science. And it's as diverse as science itself. It's everything from astronomy to biodiversity to zoology to health and everything in between. It's as diverse as science itself. No matter what the discipline, there's a way that you can be involved as a citizen scientist. There's a project out there that would love to have your help. So that's the SciStarter website. When you go there and you make an account, you can go ahead and start searching these projects and then going off and contributing to them. So that was my very brief introduction to SciStarter. It's a big website. There are thousands of opportunities out there. And if you're looking for just one way to get started, the All of Us research program is a great fit. And the projects, I'm just going to skip ahead 1 second before we get to our panel. The two projects I mentioned, Stall Catchers and Eterna, you can actually find those on scistarter.org/NLM. So that's a special page that we made in partnership with the network of the National Library of Medicine to spotlight a few really cool projects, including All of Us, Stall Catchers, Eterna, some environmental projects as well. So projects that address the environment and health. There are some really cool projects on there that you can go ahead and get started with if you're overwhelmed by the thousands of options. So I wanted to give a quick plug for that. But we have our panel today. We really want this to be an interactive session. We want to learn with you, and we want to make sure that we're talking about the things that you want to hear about. So don't be shy about asking questions in the Q&A. And if you're watching live on Facebook, don't be shy about putting your questions in the Facebook comments. We'll be periodically checking those as well. But first and foremost, I have some questions to kick us off. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing so you can see our panel's beautiful faces. I think introductions are good to start with. So let's start with our panel. So maybe Sama, do you want to go first and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. Since you started talking about All of Us, I'd love to. Hi, everybody. So my name is Sama Yunus, and I'm the engagement lead here at Cedars. I am representing the California Consortium. And so a little bit of what I do in my role is I build and maintain partnerships and networking to bring the All of Us research program not only to our patients and employees here at our medical center, but in our communities where maybe people wouldn't be able to come to our hospital or our locations. We bring it out to you to keep you engaged and inform you about the program. And so for those of you who don't know what the All of Us research program is, it's a national effort. It's part of the National Institutes of Health to engage 1 million or more people across the United States. And that's to build a database that's rich in diversity. You know, we have that here all throughout the US, where researchers can come in and do a variety of studies. Our focus and our goal is precision medicine and being able to tailor healthcare to everybody. It takes into account our environment, our lifestyle, and our genes to be able to have our researchers follow trends, look for patterns, look at what affects people's health or keeps people healthy, and then develop new treatments and medications and even prevention methods for everybody. So that's a little bit about the program. I hope you guys have some questions we can answer. but I'll kick it back to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Sama. Thank you for telling us a little bit about yourself and about all of us. And yes, everyone, please ask more questions about all of us. We can answer those today. Up next, we have Dr. Anton Culver. Dr. Anton Culver, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm Anton Culver, and I am one of the principal investigators for the California Consortium for the All of Us program. I am by training an epidemiologist from University of St. Andrews in Scotland, and I started my academic career here. My main research was and continues to be somewhat in cancer research. I've done a lot of work in breast cancer, women cancers, as well as mainly genetics and cancer, trying to find out genetic and environmental interactions and how cancer occur in families. And is that because of our genome or not? And then I applied for the All of Us program to get the California Consortium with really the richness of the population here in California. And we are one of the 10 HPOs in the nation. The All of Us program is an amazing program. It does not really specify one hypothesis to be tested, and it does not include only one population. It includes everyone, and so it's really the dream of the scientist, the health care provider, the community, the environmentalist, the geneticist. It is good for everyone. And it is truly an All of Us program from science, medicine, and people. So I'm hoping that this webinar will really encourage everybody to participate and to contribute to our knowledge using the All of Us.
Fantastic. Thank you, Dr. Anton Culver. And I know I'm going to have lots of questions for you about your cancer research during this event. But first, I would love to hear from our final panelist, last but certainly not least, Melissa.
Hello, everyone. I'm really glad to be here. So my name is Melissa Carvalho, and I am a first-year PhD student at the University of California, San Francisco. Previous to starting my PhD program, I worked as a program manager for a global surgery research program at UCSF and later at UCLA for nearly 5 years. So in that role, I was really responsible for overseeing a diverse portfolio of research projects that aim to strengthen surgical systems in low and middle income countries, particularly in sub-Saharan Africa. So we were involved in implementing a lot of quality improvement projects with partner hospitals in sub-Saharan Africa. So that was my previous work, but previous to that, I got a master's in public health training from Yale University in chronic disease epidemiology. But I am from Senegal, actually. I'm here in the US as an international student, but I'm looking forward to participating and contributing to this important discussion. So.
Yeah, thank you so much, Melissa. We're really eager to hear your story. And I have a storytelling question first. I think this would be great for Dr. Anton Culver and Melissa to answer. It's what does being a woman in science mean to you? Maybe we can start with Dr. Anton Culver.
A woman in science has a big responsibility. I think having that responsibility is to understand how science helps people, and how if we all contribute to the building of the knowledge base in science, we can solve a lot of problems and a lot of not only health problems, but general problems in the environment, in our healthcare system, in our educational system. So science promotes the assessment of whatever question you have in a way that will help people understand it more. And I think now we are at a point where women contributing a lot more to science and medicine than we've ever had before. And there is a big responsibility for women to include younger women and women who are interested in the building of that knowledge base in science and medicine, so we can all be a part of that solution. The All of Us program, one of its objectives is to be inclusive, and the inclusion of everyone is really essential for us to know more about the problems for everyone, for one thing, and to see what's important for everyone. And then once we know that, then we can try to solve those issues in a way where we will be talking really at public health, and we will be talking to improvement of our society in a way that is going to be a beneficial, but also satisfying to more people. And so I'm fortunate to be a scientist and a woman, and I am committed, obviously, to the building of that structure, so we can have the best within my lifetime.
That is fantastic. And actually, before we get to Melissa, Dr. Anton Culver, I know before the event, we had a listener submit a question. They were wondering how the current percentage of women in medical school compares to 10, 20, 30 years ago. And I thought that would be a good time to ask this, because you mentioned in your answer working with younger women and younger generations. So would you be able to address the gender breakdown?
Oh, absolutely. I taught medical school 30 and 40 years ago, and the number of women in the classroom were less than 10%. And now we're looking at 50% of a medical school class to be all women, and they are excellent, and they are competing just as much. And not only that, but we have a lot of our women medical students to be pursuing not only a medical school career and being a physician, but also a scientist. So a lot of them are involved in the PhD, MD program. And I have a lot of women who I mentored in the last years who completed their PhDs in epidemiology and population sciences, and also became physicians serving the community and actually solving some of the really crucial questions that will help society in general.
That is fantastic. And we have a first year PhD student with us. So I think Melissa, I would love for you to talk about, what does being a woman in science mean to you?
Yeah, so being a woman in science, particularly a woman of color in science, for me means it's an opportunity to generate new knowledge, and that could build a more equitable and sustainable future for communities, particularly marginalized and vulnerable populations, for which I feel that sometimes the priorities of those communities are not necessarily in the scientific agenda or scientific community. So as women of color, I come into this field and I'm able to shed a light and start researching topics or health issues that are of importance in my community and that are not necessarily being prioritized in the scientific community. So I see my role as something of someone who's shedding a light and bringing forth the priorities of my community in the research field. I also see me being a woman in science has an opportunity to, like Dr. Anton Culver mentioned, empower women, empower my peers, empower maybe younger girls who, because there's more visibility, increased visibility of people who look like me in this field. So I see that as my role has been an opportunity to empower those women and to kind of encourage them to not necessarily follow the expectations that a patriarchal, society or culture has set, or to follow what is necessarily conform to what the traditional roles of a woman should be in, let's say, in African culture, which is to be a wife and a mother. I can mention that whenever I go back to my country, for instance, I'm always asked, why are you studying? When are you completing your studies? Or why are you taking so long? Because I'm expected to have, been married and have a family by now, and they struggle to understand what it is I do, and maybe they don't value it, even people in my immediate community. So I think I represent another path. And a way, in a way, I'm saying that you don't have to conform to traditional roles. You can seek a profession, and that's okay. So yeah, that's essentially what it means for me to be a woman in science. Increase visibility, bringing forth the priorities of my community, and yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. And we're seeing in the chat that people are, loving our panel, and especially in your answer, I heard a lot about empowerment and empowering, your community. So everyone on this panel has chosen science in some way as a career. And I'm just curious, and Melissa, I think I'll start with you for this question. If for members of the general public who are watching, or people, no matter what their jobs might be, maybe they're a hairstylist or an accountant, or they work in a restaurant or wherever, or they might be young or old or somewhere in between. How would you recommend they interface with science? I know we talked about a few different citizen science opportunities at the beginning that are great for anybody, but I'm curious, Melissa, if you're speaking to the general listener, how would you tell them to get involved with science?
I think now there's more opportunities to get involved with science, because there's always opportunities to volunteer for research. There's, I think, more research studies have community advisory boards that, they incorporated so that members of a community can, how do we say, kind of have the opportunity to bring forth their ideas about what a study should include and how it should be conducted. I'm trying to think. I think there's opportunities with researchers as well to volunteer. And if you want to participate in research, there's always opportunities to contact different researchers and ask if you can volunteer in some way to gain some skills in terms of data analysis, or there's opportunities to learn as well, to take a class. yeah, I'll let Dr. Anton Culver add to that list, but yeah, those are.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. Yeah, Dr. Anton Culver, do you want to chime in? How can our viewership, the people who are with us today, get involved in science?
Well, I think the scientists don't have really they don't have to ask all the scientific questions. Curiosity belongs to everyone. Curiosity belongs to each of us, and not only scientists. The good questions that come and the concerns that come, whether they are health concerns or environmental concerns, or even interaction or diet histories and diet effect, or what affects us socially or health-wise, is like, come from the public, come from really the people who are wondering, why am I, for example, obese, and I'm actually on a diet all the time? You know, those kinds of questions are fantastic questions. So I really enjoy a lot the communication and the interaction and the input from all walks of life and all people at all ages. When I did family studies with cancer, and I was asking them, what are the questions? And I would meet with families that have cancer, and we are studying them and looking at their genome and all of that stuff. Then I would ask them, what is on their mind? What are the main questions that they want us to answer? And that brought a lot of information to me when I met with family members. And sometimes the family members and the family meetings include children. And I get fantastic questions from all ages, both genders, and from anybody. And those questions are very valuable. And that's how we, the scientists, it would take that further and actually make a hypothesis out of it and answer some of those questions. A lot of times we will not be able to answer those questions, but we are more and more designing studies like the All of Us program, where we would have 1 million people involved in that study, where you can ask many, many questions. And the questions, I believe, come from the public. Also, the answers come from the public. If I don't have participants who are providing me with the information, I would not have any answers as a scientist, and I would not be able to ask even further questions and come up with solutions to public health problems.
Phenomenal. Yes, asking questions, curiosity. And I think that leads me really well to my next question. I'm going to start with Sama for this one. So Sama, what sparked your curiosity? What made you ask questions? What got you interested in science or research? And why did you choose it as your career path?
Actually, so I was talking about this yesterday. I fell into this role by luck, and it has been the best thing that's ever happened to me. Because I have to admit, I was like, science, yeah, okay. Research, okay. But once you're in it and you're learning, and I got the opportunity to be part of it as a project manager by background, this gave me a chance to manage a project, but also talk to anybody and everybody who would listen to me. And I love to talk. So this was a chance to let people know about such a great program. And I ask a lot of questions because it is very intriguing. It's for the All of Us research program. It's very innovative, and you're building these databases, and it can answer a plethora of things. So it's so exciting. And what I love is that everyone on this panel, I'll have questions. Like you said, one question could lead to something else, sparks your interest. And what we're doing here is great. It's great for everybody. For, like Dr. Anton Culver said, we all walks of life can be involved. So it just, every day there's something new and something interesting and exciting. And I'm really, I think, very lucky to have fallen in the right place at the right time. So I'm excited to continue to learn.
Yes, lifelong learning is key. I love that. Dr. Anton Culver, I'm really curious, what sparked your interest in science initially? What gave you your start?
That's a good question, and a difficult one. I think it's the curiosity. I was really curious about everything, and the way I started, I wanted to do a whole lot of things. I wanted to do art, and I wanted to do science, and I wanted to do medicine. And my family thought that what a crazy thing. What do you want to do all that for? And throughout my life, I tend to get the other people's impression that I'm doing too much. Well, from my point of view, I'm actually doing little. And I wish I can do a lot more. And I think as a scientist and as a woman, I see the issues, the issues at a different scale, I would say. And a lot of young women will have the same thing, I'm sure. And so I think what happened is that I kept getting more and more deep into it and thinking more and more that I need more and more, because there are more things that I need to learn and I'm not doing it. Now, the interesting thing about science in general is that even when you solve a scientific question, which has to start with what your hypothesis is, and then you can actually translate that into action, and you solve that problem, that by itself create more questions. Every time you answer a question, you're creating many, many more. And if you answer the question on one population, you want to answer it in more populations. If you want to answer it on young people, you want to answer it in older people, and so on and so forth. So and that's the good thing about it. That's what really keeps me going, is that I can never finish and say, well, I solved all those problems, then I should retire now. Maybe I should, but right now I feel there are so many other questions that need to be answered, and now urgently. So it's that urgency in the scientific process and the scientific curiosity that keeps us all going, whether I am a scientist or a citizen or a young or older person or a woman or a man. I don't know if I answered your question.
You definitely did. You more than answered it. That was amazing. And I love the focus on curiosity. And we actually saw something come through in the chat. Eric said, "We are happy you didn't pay much attention to family members because your contribution to science and research has been inspirational." I have to concur.
Eric, I need that encouragement.
Yes, and I love that you're still in the game answering all these questions. You know, that's phenomenal. And speaking of encouragement, I have a question. I think I'm going to start with Melissa for this one. You know, Melissa, what do you think it takes to have a successful mentor? Are there any mentors who have really inspired you? And I would love if you could just kind of speak to mentor-mentee relationships.
Yeah, I think the mentor-mentee relationship is really the cornerstone of career in science. I would say that the foundation is really to have communication and to align your goals, because with a mentee, with a mentor, they should know what the mentee's personal and career goals are, and the mentee should know what the mentor's expectations are. And I feel like if those two things don't align, then there might be some conflict when it comes to that relationship. I think it's important for the mentee to first explicitly state where they want to go, and what their research interests are, so that the mentor knows whether a project actually, is in the best interest for the mentee, and whether it will either lead to skills development, or it aligns with the area of research that they're interested in, so that they know what to task the mentee with. So that's how I see that relationship. In terms of mentors, like I had mentioned, I was a program manager for the past 5 years in a global surgery research program, and one of the directors, Dr. Katrine Juilliard, she was also my supervisor, but she was a great mentor for me, because I came in after my master's kind of very green, with a lot of insecurities. I sometimes thought, I don't know, this, the imposter syndrome, that maybe I wasn't intelligent enough, or I doubted my abilities, but she was really instrumental in empowering me, and she would give me responsibilities. At times I was sent abroad and had to speak with Ministry of Health officials about our projects, and she gave me that leadership position and empowered me to be able to kind of take lead on a lot of projects. And that was important for me, because not only did I have to step up to because I wanted to do a good job, but it encouraged me to kind of overcome some of those insecurities. Yeah, she just gave me a lot of confidence, I think, throughout those 5 years, and I really developed professionally. And in the field, I learned more about the global surgery field. That's, I was encouraged to the point where I was like, okay, let me go get a PhD. Let me pursue this more deeply. And so yeah, and she also wanted me to move on as well, and to seek a higher position. So yeah, I would say that was an essential mentor for me. Yeah, that's one way to describe what I think of. Yeah.
I love that. And yeah, speaking to that, the mentor who inspired you, this next question, I think I'm gonna aim at Sama first. Sama, what or who inspires you as a woman in science?
Everybody on this panel, the people that I work with. I just love the patience that they have with me. Like I said, being newer to the research world and science world, I have a lot of questions, and Google is my friend, but being able to have these people to come to and ask questions, and them having patience, leading to the whole mentor-mentee, it is very important to have that patience. And they do, and they have that love for the research and science world. So, yeah.
Yes, asking questions is key. I love that. I love that you have people who inspire you, that you can ask those questions, pose those questions to.
Absolutely.
Awesome. And then I'm going to ask Dr. Anton Culver as well. What or who inspires you as a woman in science?
I think other people, other scientists, but as I said before, I really think that whether the person is a scientist or not, they do inspire me in some ways. And there are people who are so thoughtful and have a view of the world that can articulate a question or a venue that not necessarily from a scientific point of view, but from a public health or from a society point of view. But I want to say something about the role of the mentor, because I have served as a mentor to many, many students and many PhD candidates. And the main thing for a mentor is to listen to the mentee, to the person who is going to use me or have me as a mentor. And that listening is so important to have to try to help to form what the main question is, what do they want to be, and to create the structure, to build that structure that they can achieve their dreams in. And that's what build more scientists and more leaders in the community and in health and in medicine. So I take my role as a mentor very, very seriously. I am their mentor for whenever they want me and for a long, long time. I still have the students that I mentored maybe 20 and 30 years ago. Some of them come back and remind me that I was their mentor. But, you know, it is important that relationship is made up of really very special things, because you can't be a mentor to everyone, and the mentee cannot have mentoring from anyone, just anyone. So that relationship is so important. And I think young women need to take that very seriously, and not just to have a question to be answered by anybody who is knowledgeable, if they want to continue and pursue their question for a higher education.
That is fantastic. Yeah, that's a really important point to make, and a really good thing to know. I want to pivot the question a little bit. So we've talked a lot about mentors, mentees. I'm going to ask the panel, what's something you wish everyone knew about science? Maybe we could start with Melissa.
Everyone knew about science. Well, I think there's this perception that science is complicated and that only a certain type of person can pursue science. But science is everywhere. Science is universal. Anyone can study science. It's not the perception of the white male in a lab with goggles on and all that is not what science is. Science is so much broader than that. And it's not necessarily only in the biological field. There's social sciences. I'm in the global health sciences, which is so interdisciplinary. It includes, economics and politics and all of that. So I think I wish people would broaden their view of what science is. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Yes. I agree. And I think citizen science really helps with that. And we got a question earlier in the chat, what does citizen scientist means? It means that you're a volunteer who moves science forward in some way. So that can be anybody and everybody of all backgrounds. You don't even have had to graduate high school. You can be anywhere on earth and you can get involved with real research projects. And in the States, we have awesome projects like All of Us. In California, you can get involved with All of Us California and contribute to health research. By filling out surveys and contributing other data. And then there are projects you can find on SciStarter.org/NLM, where you can analyze data for researchers, where you can collect data about the environment. And there's so many different ways to interface with science. But I love that, Melissa, that you mentioned like global health sciences and all the work you do. A broad view of science is great. We got another question. I want to make sure we get to it before the event ends. And since we're on the topic of like science broadly, I'm going to pose this one to Dr. Anton Culver. One of our attendees was wondering, besides breast cancer, are there other types of cancer that have been found to be genetic?
Actually, all cancers can have a genetic component to them. Some of them are more than others, and some of them have been discovered, and some of them have not. And it depends on the how much information do we have. I think that all of us provide the basic knowledge, and where we are now in the control tier of the all of us, we have the genome already of about over 100,000 people already available to scientists to look into the genetic basis of disease. And all cancers, all disease have some genetic component to it. But as we go along with this program and understand more how much of it is environmental and how much of it is genetic, we can start looking at a larger populations with even familial components, because if there is a more genetic predisposition, you should be able to observe it in families. And when it runs in families, it could be the same environment that is pushing the diagnosis forward. So everything is really related to genetic predisposition, and how much is it, and how much of the environment has to do with promoting that effect of genetics.
That's really interesting. And yeah, I think that really underlines why it's so important that members of the public learn about all of us and contribute to projects that move science forward in this way, so we can answer questions like that. I have another question. I'm going to pose this to everybody, but I'm going to start with Sama. I would love to know, Sama, how do you manage to maintain hope and continue to reimagine the possibilities for a better future in science and research?
Really, just by getting out there and talking about the program and explaining the program and all the benefits that it has. You're talking about genetics. That's part of what the program gives back. They're giving back a lot of health-related results. That's why it's a program, not just called a study. It's a partnership, and letting people know, and also listening to our community and our patients and our participants and seeing what they think, and how can we continue to build and keep them involved, for the length of the study.
Fantastic. And Melissa, what gives you hope in the realm of science and research?
I think what gives me hope is there's always these movements that are trying to improve the way we conduct research and to involve more of the participants in the research process. I've seen steps that have been made to improve the way research is being conducted and to be more inclusive, and to take more of an input from the community that we are researching. So that gives me hope. And also people like Dr. Anton Culver, and other women in science who really paved, done so much work to make it easier for us, the younger generations. They've done a lot of work in terms of giving us more rights, so that if we do end up wanting a family in the future or stuff like that, we have opportunities for that, and we're not penalized because of that. So yeah, that gives me hope as well.
That makes me so happy. And that leads us to our panelist, Dr. Anton Culver. What gives you hope?
What gives me hope is our participants. It's our people, the people who are really hoping that their families are healthy and happy and living good life. I think they create those questions, and they create the motivation for us, the scientists and the nurses and the healthcare administrators and everybody else to be to carry the responsibility and to move forward to try to solve some of those problems. I think our participants are amazing. We are indebted to every participant who's giving us any information that would help us either to understand the research question that we are eager to, that is on the top of the list of priority, or create some more questions for us and challenges that we need to really move forward with. Now, I do believe that in addition, our students, all the way from grade school to medical school to graduate school, they all learn something, but they also ask other questions based on that learning. Remember that now in grade school and high school, we have scientists. We have future scientists, and they are learning what the problems are of today. I think the All of Us program is preparing for all of those young people to become scientists that will keep solving problems for the future.
Fantastic.
That makes me very happy.
Me too. Oh, this is so good. And we're almost at the end of our time. So I just want to pose one final question to our entire panel. And it's a pretty simple question. Is there anything else you wanted to say today that you didn't get a chance to say yet to our audience? Maybe Sama, can we start with you?
Sure. For science, do it, follow it, pursue it, ask all the questions. And it's very exciting. I'm very happy. I want to say thank you for having us here and giving us a chance to talk about it. And, any questions on the All of Us research program, I'm happy to answer. But thank you for having us and allowing us the space to talk about women in science. It's exciting.
Ooh, I love it. And then Dr. Anton Culver, are there any other things you want to say that you didn't get a chance to say?
I just want to say I'm honored to be a part of to be representing the women scientists. This is a big responsibility you're putting on me here. And I really appreciate it. I appreciate the opportunity to get me to speak up on behalf of amazing women who contributed a lot more than I did, and a lot more to humanity and to society. So I appreciate that very, very much. I want you to continue to ask all the questions and to challenge everyone. And I just hope that this is a beginning of something that is great for all our women, young and old, to hear, to really participate in, and to enjoy.
Fantastic. And then Melissa, bring us home. What's one final thing that you'd like to say to our audience today?
Yeah, I guess for all the women scientists, I would say know that you belong in this field. I think that a lot of times there's this feeling that maybe we don't belong, but we do. And our perspectives are important. And our knowledge is key to advancing science in all these fields. So yeah, that's all the advice I would give. Know that you belong.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much to our panel today. I have a few final slides to close us out. So if you are fired up after this discussion, you want to go ahead and get started with science right here, right now, there are projects you can do today on SciStarter.org/NLM. So go ahead, go there, make your SciStarter account, and start doing some real scientific research. Some of these projects are stall catchers, which I told you about, where you can accelerate Alzheimer's research, move Alzheimer's research forward. Eterna, you can build some RNA-based vaccines. I See Change, you can document weather and climate change in your community, and there's some connections to health there as well, and other projects too. Just go ahead and explore on there. And it is actually the first day of Citizen Science Month, so if you'd like this event there are more like this. You can go to citizensciencemonth.org and you can find more webinars that you can attend, and you can ask questions of the panelists and engage in dialogue. You can do live online events. Some of my favorite events include collaborations with PBS. There's a Ben Franklin event coming up. He was a citizen scientist himself, fun fact. There's an event with Science Friday where we have some citizen science trivia. There's an event with NASA's Night Sky Network where you can explore the night sky as a citizen scientist, and so much more. You can go to citizensciencemonth.org. But I'm a little biased because I'm helping organize this, but I really hope that you register for one of our next All of Us events on April 29th. We're also going to have an event in Spanish. That's going to be up later this month, but we have another All of Us event. This one's in English about data literacy on April 29th. And you can go to that link at the top of my screen, bit.ly/allofusca April 29. I'll put that link in the chat before we close the webinar today. I would love, love, love to see you there. The future of health begins with you, and data literacy is a really important skill and something that I know matters to the All of Us research program, SciStarter, and the network of the National Library of Medicine, hence organizing this event. Okay, and then we have our final slide right here. This is from our friends at All of Us California. This is the California Precision Medicine Consortium. We just wanted to give a shout out to all these different sites. You can see them on the map. There might even be a site near you. And if you want to learn more about All of Us in California specifically, you can go to joinallofus.org/California. And if you're in another state, never fear. You can still get involved with All of Us. You can just go to joinallofus.org/NLM, or you can go to that California link too. They'll get you to the right place. And that's our consortium. So in closing, just thank you to everyone for being here. If you want to join another online event throughout April, you can go to citizensciencemonth.org, but SciStarter is doing stuff year round, so you can just go to SciStarter anytime. And then of course, we really do urge you to learn more about All of Us if you enjoyed what you heard today. Anything else from our All of Us friends before we go? We have 1 minute left. Selma, did I cover everything? Oh, thank you. Thank you to you, Dr. Anton Culver.
Thank you, Caroline.
Yeah. And
You did a great job, Caroline.
This was fun.
You're a great person in doing this webinar. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I learned a ton from you all. And I want to give credit to the folks behind the scenes. Lisbeth from All of Us California and Eric from All of Us California were really instrumental in making this happen. And he couldn't be here tonight, but Hugo was also a big part of it too. So, I mean, I want to let everybody know that a lot of people were involved in putting this together so we could all learn something.
Well, I want to give thank you to all the staff, all of our staff, all of our PMs in all of our sites. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And the main thank you is to our participants.
Exactly. This is a collaboration. We all matter. We're all doing it. And if you're a woman in science or whatever gender you are, you can really make a difference for this world and make it a better place. So, all right, everybody, I think we'll close it up for tonight. I hope to see a lot of you at other Sit Sci Month events, and especially on the next All of Us event on April 29th. I'll stop sharing here. And yeah, we just got people saying goodbye to us in the chat. So we have the link there for the next event, which is great. I'll also put the joinallofus.org/California, and you can click it if you're not in California, it'll get you to the right place too. And then SciStarter.org/NLM and citizensciencemonth.org. I know that's a lot of links, but feel free, citizensciencemonth.org. Feel free to explore them and learn more. All right, good night, everybody. Good afternoon, I suppose, but good afternoon, everyone.
Bye.
Hi, everyone.